I'll explain a bit about the LaserFX laser generators that you can find here in the laser generator. Let's first talk a bit about laser content. So you have a bit of, let's put it there. If I take a laser surface and apply to it the laser grid, so it's a laser generator. It's directly a vector content. So there's no pixels. It's vector content. So if I take like the text and zoom in there, you can see it's a perfect curve. There is no pixels. I can also see it if I right click and choose create laser lines. You will find out that this surface is actually made of Bezier curves and stuff. It's not based on a discrete path, so it's fully vector content. So now a lot of people were asking, because if I that's a good thing. If I do this, so now instead of having this laser quad using this content, I converted it by right clicking into a laser line surface. So the laser line surface is a set of Bezier paths that are defined inside the surface. So you can list the different elements of the layer like this. And on this one you can add an FX. You can also use a visual, like if I use this line patterns material on it, I can animate the path like this. So let's put back the laser beam preview. Oops. Here I can animate like this, and you have different options for texturing, like match output geometry or media line per segment. So this visual will be repeated on each part separately. So if I create new ones like this, you can see that the same visual is reproduced on each. But if I choose media line chained, the visual here will be dispatched along the wall path of all those elements. Okay. And you can also use FX. So actually I used a visual, this one, to texturize the passes. So let's remove this and just put it full white. But here I can also use some FX like noise, or well, of course you have parameters for this, or I can use beams FX, for instance. So I get beams along the path. So of course it's a bit strange with this content, but if I do just cycle and remove all the other ones, beams makes much more sense. And you can choose a lot of parameters like the number of groups you want, and if you want 4 beams per group and things like this. So it's quite useful and can make very cool effects for laser. So let's remove the cycle and just keep 2 lines. Oops, like this. Okay, so now a lot of people were asking, now I've got this quad showing some content like this, and I would like to texturize this. Well, of course that's not the best example here, but if I have like, what should I take? I can take this cycle, but I would like to texturize it differently. So what I can do, actually, I cannot apply on a laser quad an effect like for the lines. I have no FX section for the laser quad when it takes directly laser content. But what I can do is take the laser FX as an input source visual. I will take the audio reactor. Now I will apply it to this surface. I can choose a texture source, so I would say solid color. I don't want to texturize it. I can choose an effect, so let's just disable the effect. So actually it's not doing much. I can disable the use color, so it won't use the audio reactor color, it will just put it white, and then I can use like the line patterns to texturize it, as I was doing with the LaserFX. So here I've got a single cycle, but it's using the LaserFX to this visual. So if we look at the visual, I will create a video surface with the line pattern so we can understand what is actually texturing. Okay, so this visual is actually texturing my cycle. So if I change the parameter of it, I can change the texture, so make it slower. Okay, so actually with the LaserFX I can choose an external vector source, apply on it some texturing, and I can also put some FX. It's like if my LaserFX was a laser line surface, but with the lines coming from an external vector source. So here I will remove my texturing, just put a solid white, and I will switch to FX. So now I can apply an FX like beams on my source. So as a reminder, my source was audio reactor, so this one, and now I am applying a LaserFX onto it. So LaserFX laser generator can do a lot for you. You have also the laser mixer, which is a quite interesting one. So if I take, for instance, on the left side this, and on the right side I take another one, this will allow me to mix between both. Okay, so if on the right side I take the LaserFX, for instance, I can mix between the source and the one with the FX. And there are different ways to mix, morphing purpose. Okay, zoom. Okay, well, so LaserFX is a great tool for laserists who wants to use vector content. So as an input here, I've chosen a laser material, one of the built-in ones, but I could also use an SVG image. So let's take this one. If I remove the FX, so this is my SVG image, and I can apply to it some texturing or anything like this. It can also be that's another SVG file. Let's remove laser beam preview. So here I can apply, for instance, a noise, okay, with some lower power. Okay, I can take an SVG sequence. So MadMapper supports SVG sequence. So actually an SVG sequence is a folder. that contains a list of SVG files that you can export from some softwares. I could also in the LaserFX choose as an input an ILDA file. So here that's an ILDA file. That's the original one if I remove the noise. And here I can of course apply any FX or anything onto it, like a 3D transform or beams and stuff. Okay, so any vector source will be accepted as an input in the LaserFX. And of course I only show the base FX that you find here, but there is the library, and you can go in the public, and then you have a few more LaserFX. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and enjoy MadLaser.